sure that happens.
I'm going to try and stay on as long as I can, just because, you know, I'm
Start with you
very
though. We're gonna start with you,
okay.
Miss Lee, because we definitely
Well,
appreciate you
I
coming.
mean, the call on internet. I did come.
We definitely appreciate you coming. And
Yes, of course.
gonna go first. Good evening, everyone. My name is James Jones, and I am the president of the Reinvention Center. Tonight, we are hosting Growth Hour, which is a broadcast that helps different individuals try to obtain their freedom, as well as assist individuals in interpersonal skill building, locating jobs, or whatever the case may be. We extend our resources to everyone so we can continue to grow collectively, opposed to trying to do one thing at a time. Today's topic is about Mr. Quentin Sanders. We spoke about Mr. Sanders one time before. We wanted to do an update of Mr. Sanders and actually have some other family members come on and act, and recap his story. It is a remarkable story, but unfortunately, a unique and tragic one. Um, as we said before, um, it's numerous people here, so we have new people that's on board today, and one of them is Miss Connie Lee. She's a private investigator out of Colorado, and she's often has extended her services to the cause of Mr. Sanders. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to introduce Miss Lee, as well as have her tell something about her practice and her services and how she can be contacted. Good evening, Miss Lee.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Well, I kind of, just a brief history. I've worked in the criminal justice system for about 10 years in a lot of different areas. Department of Corrections, community corrections, at-risk youth, and it's really hard to advocate and do the things that I wanted to do when you're working in the system. So I went out and I'm doing my own thing. My business is it's a private investigative business, but I specialize in post-conviction criminal defense type stuff. I started looking into some different cases of close friends of mine that are incarcerated, and that kind of is what got me going in the direction of actually doing, case reviews, looking for different things throughout the case that pertains to misconduct, anything that might stand out that I would be able to obtain that would qualify as newly discovered evidence, talk to witnesses, basically go through the whole case from start to finish all over again to see if I can find anything that would help these guys or women in getting back in court or even, released. I also am involved in a lot of advocacy groups and volunteer my services to people like Miss Lisa, who is needing some people located or information so that she can continue to do what she does. Yeah, and I have clients that I work with in right now, Kansas and Alabama, with the case reviews. A lot of that is done remotely. I can contact witnesses, I can pull reports, I can look through all the materials. And then I provide a report to the client with, all my research, my findings, any new evidence that I collect, witness statements. I provide that report with all the information that I was able to pull together that would benefit them. And then they can, I can refer them to different attorneys that I may have contacts with here. If they're in Colorado, I can do the research on attorneys, paralegals. A lot of times my clients will hire me to do the investigative part and then a paralegal to actually do the writing of the legal motions that they need filed, whether it be, ineffective counsel, a 35C, Rule 32, depending on what state it's in, habeas corpus, those type of things. So, and an investigative report I have found is pretty powerful when they get to that step in the process, as far as, the credibility and the information that can be received. So, yeah, that's kind of my what I do in a nutshell. And I tend to my biggest thing is I like to build that rapport and relationship with the client and their families. So I'm always in communication with them. I have another lady that works with me, and she has a wonderful eye for pulling things out that, I may not see. So we work really good together, and, we enjoy getting to know the family and the situation and everybody's story, because that really makes us more passionate about ensuring that we do everything we can for the client. I also know that a lot of people incarcerated don't necessarily have the financial means to hire, a good defense team to do a lot of the things that they need done. So my cost is very reasonable, and I work with the families, and um, usually payment plans. I do have a couple cases I'm working on pro bono. So it's, it's a business, but it's also my passion. And so I've been following Mr. Sanders' case and everything that's going on. And my heart goes out to the family and everything that you guys have been through, and hopefully, everything that's happening and going on will bring him home.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to contact you, how do they contact you?
My website is it's kind of a long one, but HSH Investigation co.com. And or you can call me. My phone number is 970-580-0779, or text me. Either way. My email is hshinvestigation@gmail.com. And even if it's just somebody that doesn't know what direction to go and they just need, to run things by, I am more than willing to just listen to the situation. And if it's something that I think I can benefit them with my services, I will. And if it's not, then I'll try and do what I can to find them somebody that is going to, do good work for them. Because there's a lot of people that have kind of, I find there's a lot of people that have spent tens of $1,000s and have, and have gotten nothing done in return. So I see those frustrations in the family. So
Definitely appreciate people like yourself. Um, I ask that, do Lisa have your information? Because if she does, I know I have it, but if anyone that doesn't have it that needs it, we can contact either one of us and we can push them in your direction.
absolutely,
Def,
absolutely.
we definitely appreciate the services you have rendered for Mr. Sanders particularly, as well as any other services you may have rendered to anybody else. Before we go any further, I would like to introduce you to Quentin's mother, Miss Betty Sanders. This is her. Well, she's to my right on the screen. I don't know how she is on your screen, but it's a young lady
I'll
with the
go
glasses
over.
on. This is
Oh, hi.
Sanders.
Hi.
Hi, Mrs. Sanders.
Hi, nice to meet you, Connie. And I want to thank
Let-
you very much for your service of render to help my son and to working with Miss Lisa and Mr. Jones.
Oh, absolutely. It's nice meeting you.
The other two ladies on here, I don't know if you can see them, are his sisters. One of
Okay.
them, Miss Sanders can introduce them because I don't know which one is which, um, whatnot. Um,
I see Glenisha, that's the one in the, I think that's a rust color wall in the background.
okay.
And Audra, I don't see her, but I know she on.
She's
I'm
on
not
there.
for
She's
sure.
I
waving.
see Audra, yeah.
She's waving. Um, Definitely waving. We definitely appreciate everyone attending, and we definitely appreciate you attending. I don't know. I know your time is limited, but I would like to ask you. And I normally ask questions at the end, but because of the circumstances, I want to ask you a question that may be helpful to all of us. We are not
Sure.
experts in what we do at all. We don't profess to be experts, but we give our best. You know, with the guidance of our Creator, we try to do our best. The question is this here: at some point we're looking to reach out to the victim's family. Have you had any experience in interviewing or reaching out to some of your former clients' family, and seeing what their temperament is or how they feel about the situation that's going on?
I have I have one case that I did reach out to the victim, and she was very responsive. Um, I uh, I haven't spoke with her in a bit because I wanted to give her some time to think about whether she wanted to um, provide any kind of statement or anything. But yes, she was uh, very responsive. I have a couple cases that um, we're talking to other witnesses, but at some point, um, we may be reaching out to those victims also. Um, I think it's just a matter of uh, approach. It really is, because you have to be sensitive to their situation, but also kind of tell a story of you know the big picture, because a lot of times the victims don't really know what they don't really know the whole story, especially when it may be a situation where it's a mistaken identity. And a lot of times in the trial, they don't see all the information that we see, or all the other witnesses that may have identified another person. So it's just really in the approach. Sometimes you're not going to get them to cooperate at all, but like I said, sometimes depending on the approach, you will. And sometimes all they want to hear is um they want to ask questions. Have they taken the steps to rehabilitate themselves, to become a better person? Are they remorseful? um in most of my cases, they're mistaken identities, and I believe, and they know and claim their innocence. And so that's a really tough one too, um, because I think at first, they're worried about whether or not they're going to get in trouble themselves if they ID'd somebody that was wrong, and they are willing to go back and say, well, I'm not 100% sure that that's who it was. A lot of times they'll get that pressure that you perjured yourself to begin with. So I kind of take the approach, especially in misconduct cases where law enforcement or prosecutors influenced or coerced the testimony, I try to go that route, and let them know that some of the information that I'm coming across or the evidence I'm receiving shows that there might have been misconduct in this case, and you might have been just as much a victim as the defendant, So those are more the situations that I am working on right now. But there has been a couple victims I've reached out to, and they're very responsive and willing to talk to me. So it's just all in the approach.
Right, and I was going to ask you, their particular technique that you use in approaching the victims, because we do understand that it is a sensitive matter.
Mhm.
Especially if there is a loss of life, loss of
Mhm.
a loved one. So it's extremely sensitive, and we want to respect the victim and the victim's family, but we would also like to know what their position is or what their stance is. So, do you have any pointers or ideas or techniques that you use when you're when doing that?
Well, the one in particular, and it was an example of a statutory case, and I approached it as that I understand that this, talking to me may bring up a lot of memories, and it's a very sensitive subject, and by no means do I want to put you in a situation that you might be uncomfortable with, or that you might have to relive. But I would like to just provide some information on what has transpired in the last however long it is. The one victim I did talk to didn't know that that her the defendant, or the guy, was even still in prison, and it's been 18 years. He got a 2-year to life sentence, and she was actually unaware that he was still in prison. And so she kind of started feeling a little bad, because she understood her part in it, when you and so it was a matter of, and then we started talking about the different things that he's done while he's been in there, and the classes he's taken, and the programs he's been involved in. And it really surprised her, and it really made her feel good that he did take it serious, and he did, do some of the things that they're supposed to do and he should do. And so she was very impressed by that. And I think that's what helped her, realize that, yeah, I want to do what I can, or my part in helping. So that was one in particular case. I said, well, let's don't do anything now. Don't decide now. Just take some time to think about it, and then we'll be in touch, when you're ready. So.
Okay, so have you had any cases that the victim was actually I'm going to say reluctant to speak with you, or
I haven't had anybody that was reluctant to speak with me. Actually, I've had pretty good conversations with all the victims that I have talked to. Some of them aren't necessarily interested in helping out, but I definitely leave an impression that I think allows them to think about the situation, knowing a little bit more, as far as the type of things that they've done to become a better person. And I haven't heard back from any of them just yet, but I'm not necessarily giving up hope that I won't, So but the one is the only one so far that has been, but I haven't had to really go to the victims in most of my cases that I've worked, because usually I find other evidence that, you know, we don't even have to go there. So that's kind of nice, you know.
Okay. As you already met Miss Sanders, and I wanted to ask you, Miss Sanders, if you had any questions or anything that you wanted to ask Miss Connie in regards to any questions you have that you may want to clear up a myth or a thought, or any of your daughters have any questions they would like to ask considering Quentin's situation. I do want to say that Miss Connie is the individual that helped Lisa and myself and Mr. Clifton locate the victim's address and contact information. Um, so this is why I'm asking her the questions I'm asking her, because it will be helpful to Quentin's plight. We that as I stressed before, contacting the victim is a very sensitive matter, and I feel like you only get one shot at that. So we need to do it in a way that's the most effective and the most unoffensive as possible.
Yes, I want to thank her for her service again, for her time and to locate the victim family and stuff. And it's a lot that is in debt to this case, but they'll probably be at a later date. But I appreciate her service right there for locating the victim family for us.
Okay. We're gonna ask her to continue to work with us in some capacity. What that is at this point, we're not sure. We haven't mapped it out yet, but from what she's telling us, um, I definitely would like her to be instrumental in the contacting of the victims. Or even if it's nothing but advising us in the best ways and stuff like that, answering questions, because as I said before, I know that if the victims are on board and you're filing any petition, it's hard for the court to go against what you're asking for if the victim itself are saying, "Hey, I have no problem with this here." So that is one of the main obstacles or the biggest thing that we need to accomplish at this gesture. So again, we will be getting back with her on that. And if anybody, her time is limited. So if anybody else that's on the platform have a question for her, this is the time to ask now.
Everybody
Okay.
okay?
Anybody, I think that
Can I
yes,
just say, I'm sorry, can I just say before you go, Miss Connie, thank you, thank you. You're marvelous. Every time I call you, you don't hesitate to just talk to me, and and that's unusual in my world. So thank you so much. We appreciate you, and let me say, you are an excellent private investigator, because I asked you to help locate the victim, and I believe it was within minutes you did. So, if anybody's wondering, top notch here. So, but thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
We know you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss Sanders.
I was thanking Miss Connie too, and like I said again, thank her for her service. That's what I was saying. Thank her.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I definitely appreciate you as well. If I haven't told you before, I'm telling you now, and I'm going to tell you continuously throughout our working relationship. That I definitely appreciate you. I'm not sure if the young lady that came on, I believe it's one of Quentin's sisters as well, has a question. I had if you do, you have to unmute yourself, and then you can ask away. There
I
you
was
go.
I was saying that I just joined and I was kind of late, so I really missed what was going on.
Miss Connie was just introducing herself and letting everybody know that she was a private investigator out of Colorado that offers many services. We technically haven't got into your brother's um, matter, and we're going to do this as soon as we get through. We just jumped the course because Miss Connie has limited time. But she was explaining, and I was asking questions about what would be the best way to contact the victim. Um, because it's a sensitive matter, and she was giving her practical experiences of contacting victims and what the results of them were at this point. Um, So really, really, you missed a great deal, but you had, and you missed an important part. But we're glad that you did come and you did get a chance to meet her because this is one of the individuals that's on the team. On I call it Team Sanders, to help your brother get out of prison.
Okay, well, nice to meet you, Miss Connie.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Okay, what we're going to do, I don't know how much time you have left, Miss Connie, but what we're going to do is we're going to go into Mr. Sanders' story.
Okay.
And what I would like to do is I'm going to ask Miss Betty Sanders to give us a brief, bring us up to speed of Mr. Quentin up until this arrest happened. Particularly, how was he in school? Was in any extracurriculum after school? Any programs and stuff like that? There. Anything else that the Lord put on your heart to share with us?
Yes, Quentin, my name is Betty Sanders. I'm Quentin Sanders' mother. Quentin is my only son, and to bring you up to speed, I want to just start with first by saying that Quentin is a child that love to ride bikes, love to be around his family, playing, aggravating them all day long and stuff. And and school, he joined ROTC, and he enjoyed being in the ROTC. And he loved it working. He had been working ever since he was like 14 years old. As Shawnee was his first job. And he worked also at a Foot Locker outlet here in Memphis, Tennessee, and he enjoyed working, and that's what he always did. Took time out working, and that's what he loved doing, and that's what he does now. Where he was in the West Tennessee State Penitentiary, and that's what he loved doing, and that's the type of person that Quentin is. He's a good child, and he's very respectful.
Definitely, thank you for that. It's something that it brings a lot of light to his upbringing, which you're telling us is a sound. It's not only from what you're telling us, but from evidence. It's a sound upbringing. I wanted to add to that, Miss Sanders, that this was to let everyone know this was Mr. Sanders' first time in trouble or had any encounter with the law. He's not an individual that just a repeat offender or anything of that nature. This is his first time. At the age of 17, this was his first encounter with the law. And his first encounter with the law, he received a sentence of 51 years to
Yes.
life. Um, the first encounter happened at the age of 17 years old. So he was still a kid. He was not legally able to buy cigarettes, go, watch rated R movies. He couldn't purchase a firearm in every state well, pretty much every state. I know Louisiana has different laws, but he was considered a minor. He was still considered a juvenile. There was a lot of things that he couldn't do because of his age. However, that didn't stop um, him from receiving a sentence of 51 years to life, which I feel is extremely excessive. And because of that, myself, and everybody that's on this platform has taken on the plight of trying to help Mr. Sanders regain some of his life back. Because at the sentence, the present sentence that he will be 68 years old when he is able to see the parole board. I'm not saying get out. I'm saying see the parole board. So that means that he can see it and they can reject him. They can reject him for 5 years or 10 more years after that. And then he's essentially doing life. Just at this point, the state of Tennessee says that 51 years to life is not a life sentence. So some of the laws that came out does not affect him. That's why we're taking this journey of trying to get him out via or through a commutation of sentence, which he's very worthy of. I want to give some brief background of Mr. Sanders' case. Again, at the age of 17, still in high school, the gentleman made a bad decision. He was involved with some people. Some things happened, and some money came up missing. Some guys told him they wanted their money. So he went and came up with a way to try to recoup their money and give them back their money. There was some threats given into him, which kind of motivated him to do the things that he done. Is it right? No, I'm not saying that breaking the law is right at any time, and I'm not trying to take away from what his actions were. I'm just like to give the facts. So he went to the mall in an attempt to steal some merchandise in order to sell to get the money to make the wrong what he felt like he was doing was making a wrong right, but he was actually making a wrong. A lot of us at the young ages have done things where we think we're making it better, but it's actually making it worse. He is no different from any of us. Um, he went into the mall. Unfortunately, the theft didn't go as planned. They didn't steal anything. They were seen at and when people asked them to come to them, they put down the merchandise. So they did not take any merchandise out of the mall. Um, um, he went in the parking lot. There was some people following them, so they jumped in the vehicle and they tried to get away. There was a high speed chase. Again, we readily admit the crimes that or the laws that were broken. I'm not going to say crimes because that's kind of like a harsh word, but the laws that were broken. And as a result of the high speed chase, there was a car crash, and Officer Overton lost his life. Um, we regretfully um um we definitely regret that he lost his life, and give our condolences and everything to the family, because no one wants to lose a loved one. But
Yes.
he lost his life. As a result of that, he went to court and they charged him with um felony murder, murder and commission of a felony, which carried a sentence of 51 years to life. It's equivalent to first degree murder. Um, we know that first degree murder is something that's premeditated. I mean, you had to be planned. Of course, um, this was not something that was planned. He did not wake up in the morning saying that he was going to go in get in a high speed chase and accidentally kill someone. This is truly an accident. I have done some research in in the state of Tennessee on their statutes and what their sentences carry and whatnot. And I want to share some things with you. First, before I do that, I want to say that um, they, even though it's enhancement of felony in relation a felony murder in relation to a felony, which is a form of enhancement. They could have charged Mr. Sanders with vehicular homicide, because technically, if you run over somebody with a car, um, whether you're intoxicated or you're not intoxicated, it's vehicular homicide. If you run over someone with a car and kill them, it's 30 years if you're intoxicated. It's 15 years if you're not. So that's 15 years for a vehicular homicide. It's 1 year for the high speed chase. It was 1 to 6 years for the attempted theft for the stuff that he didn't steal, and I'm going to say 10 more years for the 5 to 10 more years for the theft of the car. That in no way adds up to 51 years to life. Um, Again, he was enhanced, and they gave him the most stiffest penalty, in this scenario. Again, we don't take away from him the laws that were broken. We don't do that in no form or fashion. We do not disrespect or dishonor the officer's honor. We don't do that. But we want the public to know and everybody to know that this was a 17-year-old gentleman who made one bad decision in his entire life, and now they're taking away the rest of his life. For that, I feel that is that's unjustly. I think that's unfair. And because of that, we have taken on the plight of trying to get him home. He has served 21 years to date as on this crime that happened 21 years ago. Since being in prison, Mr. Sanders have taken college courses. He's gotten his GED first because he was in high school when this happened. Gotten his GED first. Then he took college courses. He's taken Bible courses. He's a perfect attendance at work. He's involved in different programs on his job. where they're making PPE equipment, masks, and donating it to the public. He has numerous articles written about the services and his efforts, from different multiple newspaper companies. We have also reached out to some, and they want to do a follow-up story on Mr. Sanders. And everyone we have spoken to, um, feels or are in agreement with us that Mr. Sanders, and I'm not going to use the term deserves a second chance, but they feel that Mr. Sanders deserves another chance at life. You know, there's no, I don't think there's no one that's that's alive that can say that at 17 years old they done something and they're going to be punished for 51 years for what they done when they were 17 years old. Because of that, I ask that Mr. Sanders get the same thing that we get. We don't get punished for what we did at 17. I know I done some things at 17 that I definitely got punished for, but I didn't get punished for 51 years. And because of that, we are where we are today as far as trying to assist Mr. Sanders. We have multiple organizations. Sail with Sippy, Mr. Maurice Clifton, he's on the screen. Miss Sanders. You have we have Breaking Silence with Lisa. We have the Reinvention Center with myself, and most importantly, we have the Sanders family that supported Mr. Sanders. You know, and we extend all. We have other people. If I forgot you, please forgive me, because we have other people that are actually that's trying to assist in the fight for Mr. Sanders. I don't have all the name of them, but what I will do is I pass it on to Miss Lisa and allow her to run down the name of all the people that are assisting us at this point. Before I do that though, what I would like to do is reiterate that Mr. Sanders deserves another chance at life. I don't say second chance, because if we say second chance and he gets out and anything happen, which I don't see happening, because I want the world to know that I strongly feel that Mr. Sanders will come home. If he was to come home today, he would not commit another crime. Some people would say, I don't believe that, once a criminal, always a criminal. I will say that I myself served over 20 years in a federal prison, and I am home, and I have not committed a crime since being home. I have opened 2 businesses. I am a supervisor at MGM Casino, one of the biggest casinos in the world. Not in Las Vegas though, but in National Harbor, Maryland. And I've written books. I've done nothing but positive things. I mentor people. I mentor children. I mentor adults. I help people write resumes. I offer all type of services. This can be evidenced by going on the reinventioncenter.org and looking at their website. My point is, and it's not about me, but my point is, people do go to prison for long periods of time, change their life while they're in, and then come home and do what's right. I again say that I strongly feel that Mr. Sanders will be one of those people, and upon his release, I'm sorry, I will assist him in any way possible for him to maintain the straight and narrow. We have spoken on helping him start his own organization, mentoring kids and stuff like that, which he's already doing. He's already inside the prison mentoring kids through a program through I believe the Memphis Police Department, the same police
Don't follow
department that,
me.
excuse me.
Don't follow me program.
Thank you. And he's already doing this, so it ain't like that he don't have to do it because he's serving a sentence. You have people that's home and not putting forth the effort or the work in that he's doing. If I missed any programs, Miss Sanders, I appreciate you letting me know the name of it. If I missed any of them, please share with everyone what those programs are, if you don't mind.
You have a miss in every program that is in West Tennessee State Penitentiary. He has, making sure that he tries to enter those programs wherever that they have to offer. But I wanted to add and to say that, Quentin is very remorse, and I stopped it at when he was 17 years old. And the characteristic about him, this was his first mistake, and it was a big mistake, and he is remorseful for it. and the characteristic that I had embedded in him since he was a young boy, he carried them also to West Tennessee and continue his work to do good the way that I have trained him and taught him to do good. And, you know, he's trying his best to give back. And all he asking for is another chance to show that his debt to society, and he have did good in prison.
You know, there's no question he comes from a good foundation, Miss Sanders. And I'm not just saying this for the show. I'm saying this because I have had a lot of encounters with you. We conversate a lot. I speak with not only yourself, I speak with the rest of your family, his grandfather, amongst his sisters and everybody is of the same quality. And and this is one of the reasons why that all of the organizations and people that are presented with Mr. Sanders' case, we all have something in common. We come to the same conclusion that this gentleman here deserves another opportunity at life. He should not spend all of his adulthood in life. So there's no question about that. What at this point, what I'm going to do is, and I strongly feel, and I keep reiterating this, that if he come home today, he's going to be okay. With your guidance and your switch that you still got here out there somewhere in the house, he gonna be okay. Um, Lisa, if you don't mind, unmute yourself and please share. No, I'm sorry. Let me go to Mr. Clifton first. Mr. Clifton, I want you to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to Miss Sanders so she get the opportunity and everybody else that's on so they can see who you are.
Hey, Miss Sanders, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Clifton. How you doing today?
All right, it's good to meet you face to face, and I'm a gentleman you talked to yesterday on the phone. So just know that we're working hard and we're trying to put everything together in the best way possible to find the best avenue to try to find a highway home for your son. So it's been an honor for me. I'm Maurice Clifton. My organization is SAIL, Sippy's Advocacy Initiative and Leadership. And so I just want to say, man, it's going to be, we have a tough road ahead, but I just think about it, with the grace of God, we can do all things. Everything is in God's time. And I think he's bringing everybody together for a particular, for a particular purpose and a reason. And I just think that, you and your family have to just like trust the process, offer anything that you need. But I think that, with James and Lisa and I and the other people who are working to help them, I think we all are putting together 100%. And we're just trying to
Yes,
map out the best way, possible. And so, and we all have to stay, prayed up in the sense that we have to, pray continuously for our strength and for guidance, from God in order to get us to that particular point. So we have to also, I want you to remind, Quentin also to be prayerful as well,
yes,
so that we can, bring together the forces of change and get him home, because it's definitely an unjust sentence, and it's definitely a gross miscarriage of justice. It's not just because he's African American, but just because it's totally wrong. Because he's you talking about a young man that's his first time. You got murderers that have, I've seen guys go to prison for murder, come back out, kill somebody else, do 6 years and come back out, and they're already home. They willfully and intentionally, murdered somebody. So you're talking about somebody who committed an accident, So, and he was serving, 50, to me, 51 years is a life sentence. Whether he was 15, 17, or whatever, it's a life sentence because he haven't got a chance to really experience anything in life, and I don't think he should do it behind bars. So, for me, enough is enough, man. We just need to do what we need to do to get him home.
yes, sir.
So,
I definitely appreciate you doing that, saying what you're saying. I ask that you give a little bit more background about yourself personally so everybody can understand why it is that you have the passion to do what you do. You like to leave that information out, but it's important that everybody understand
yeah.
why you're so passionate.
A lot of time I leave it out, James, because so many times, not now, I'm not saying this particular instance, I leave it out because I want people to know that I'm fighting for my heart. But like you say, me doing, I'm a first time offender. I went to prison and I'm not even supposed to be home. But by the grace of God, I'm here. You know, I fought and I fought. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm not supposed to be home. I came home when God was ready for me to come home. Um, I had a 400-month sentence. That was 33 years, 4 months as a first-time offender. You know, I received my sentence when I was 31 years old. I just came home this year in January after serving 23 years, and I seen so many people incarcerated, you know, wrongly, and the courts denied them and denied them. I seen first-time offender, but yet I see guys who have been habitual offender come in 2 or 3 times, and the revolving door of prison, they come in back to back to back. But here I was, a first-time offender, had never been in any trouble or anything, and they gave me a 400-month sentence, and I served 23 years. I just got home this year, and I made it my business to come out and fight for any type of miscarriage of justice or any type of wrongful conviction that I could. And so, I don't sleep or anything. I try to get up and live this. I find cause not because I want to be popular, not because I want to be famous. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I want people to know that I'm empowered because of my situation or the trials and the struggles that I went through, even the readjusting and coming back home. So my passion is to help people and to be here for guys reintegrating back into the system. So when we bring, not if we bring Quentin home, I want to be there for him to help him transition back into society. So not if we bring him home, but when we bring him home. So as James said, my incarceration from some of the worst prisons all the way down to a camp, I had to transform my inner thinking and to become a person who was ready to be free. Freedom is not just about being free in the street. Freedom is being free internally. So I became free internally long before I became free physically. And so it's a it's a battle inside to become free mentally. But looking at Quentin's record while he's been incarcerated, he's free. He's free. The only thing he needs now to go hand in hand to mirror that is his physical freedom. And I think that he would do an outstanding job once he come home because he's became free while he's inside. And it's evidence of that by the things that he's doing, the mentorship that he's doing, all the classes that he's taking. He's preparing himself for that job when he gets home. So with a little love and guidance from you and the rest of his family, he can do a lot of things, when he gets home, which will be soon.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to add this, and Mr. Jones was asking me, he was talking about the all the certificate that Quentin have accomplished while he in there, and we talked about. I was telling him about he tried to take any program he can to get into, and and he told me, he said, "Mama, that's good." He went to he get in program, go to Bible school, and he said the best thing is the change within. And when he told me that, and he let me know that no matter what he going through or whatever, how he have changed him and who he have become, and to make it make it better for himself, for the mistake that he had done and the change that came that within him for the out of the whole 21 years what he had been going through. And I was just, it just break my heart just to see, the things that I see him what facing. But what makes me more prouder is the strength that he have to endure this.
For
Go ahead,
me,
Miss.
you know what that him going through this is going to strengthen him and make him uh immovable and unbreakable. Unbreakable in the sense that when he starts fighting for somebody, when he starts working or building his own family, it's going to make him unshakable because see, sometimes God, if everything was easy, then people would take it for granted. I'm not saying that that it's been easy on him or it's been necessarily unnecessarily hard, but for him to, in spite of and despite of his situation, to get up and want to better himself, I think he's bettering himself uh,
Yes,
because he wants to be a better man, not for the sake of freedom. I think he's not even looking at the finish line, but he's taking it day by day and building upon himself, you know, character, employability skills, and just totally within, and he's building upon himself within. He's, you know, he's making himself a new man before God. So I think everything that
Yes.
he does is to better himself
Yes.
and to steady his character. And one thing I want you to tell him when you talk to him again, I want him to get up every morning and say is, I want him to just say everything in God's timing. No matter what we do, everything is going to be in God's timing. Not my timing, not James' timing, not Lisa's timing, not your timing, not his timing. It's going to be in God's timing. And so when everything lines up, then, you know, God's going to say, you know, well done, my good and faithful servant. You know, so no
Yes.
chains and no bars can hold him. You know, when God says time, and there's nothing can hold him. But we got to do the work. It's something that we have to do, all of us together collectively. You know, but we have to know that, you know, when it's time, it's going to be time, and nothing is going to stop that. Nothing stops James from advocating for him. Nothing stops Lisa from making phone calls. You know, and so I just think I want you to remind him that everything is in God's timing. Don't get discouraged. To continue to build up on himself and to just take one day at a time, and just remember everything is in God's timing. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be any time. Whenever God says time, nothing can hold him. No judge can deny him, and no bars can hold him. And so I just want you to live with that. Make sure you tell him that everything is in God's timing.
Yes, I would do that.
Thank you, Mr. Clifton. I really appreciate you giving that second phase because that was very powerful and inspirational that you gave. And the reason why I asked you to give your, explain more about yourself is not to take the story or the focus off of Mr. Quentin, but for everybody to understand that there's other individuals other than myself or like or that have been in the system that have come home and done constructive and positive things. I don't think that that side of the story is told enough. I will honestly say that I dislike being in prison, but if I had not went to prison, I wouldn't be the man I am today. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing today. So I just took it like, I just took it in the sense of, God puts me in the position to be able to smooth off my rough edges because I had a bunch of rough edges, and now that he felt like that I'm smooth enough to come on home and roll with what's going on out here, the gates were open for me. You know,
I
um,
second that.
I don't have no bitterness. I don't have none of that in my heart. I've spoken at the U.S. Attorney's office. And some people, and I laugh because some people, that was our enemy when we were inside, because there's the people who's trying to take our life. And but I was, not I was grown enough, mature enough to be able to go into that environment and actually speak to them. But it gave me an opportunity to give them an inside look of the defendants, how we view things, how we see things, how we are not mature enough in a lot of different ways, how we are make some bad decisions, but because to them it's just a job until they get an individual to come and explain that, so that's what I done. I was able to do that, enjoy the experience, and they enjoyed it as well. They often ask me, keep in contact with me, and always try to help me in any plight that I can do. But again, I bring you on, and I want you and I ask you to tell about yourself for that purpose, so they can see there are successful people after prison who do a longer period of time, because it's sometimes thought that once a person serves a long period of time, they become bitter or they become crazy or they lose their mind. They label us. But I want them to label us as God's carriers and good men, based opposed to just always looking at the ones that's coming home and doing something crazy and going right back. They see they put them on the news and put them in the newspaper, glorify them all the time, but they never glorify guys, or people like us that come home and do what's right. You
Right.
rarely see that story on that. So that's why I asked you that, brother. So, I definitely appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
And the things that you say are need to be heard, because you are a vessel of God as well.
Yeah. Well, and definitely so, because and I try not to, like you said, I don't want to take anything away from Quentin, but God bless me to come home and to with a job that allows me to go back into prison and be a reentry coordinator, and a chaplain. So You know, so I'm on my second week, man. And it's been beautiful and lovely, man. So it gives guys who've been in, you know, who've been in a situation like I once was in, it gives them hope. You know, so I've been he blessed me with that opportunity to be able to, you know, to become a chaplain and a reentry coordinator, you know, and to go back inside prison and minister to guys and to help them get on the right track with their education. You know, so as you are, you know, I am a living, to me, I'm a walking testimony, and I wanted to do more, do as much as I can. You know, I want my lamp to always burn so that the guys inside can see that there is hope, you know, after prison. But it's the things that they do while they're incarcerated now that's going to equip them to be the person that God wants them to be, not the person that they want to be. You know, and you know, I say this, I often tell my fiance, whom you talk to, if I had to go, I lost a lot. If I had to go that path in order to become the man that I am today, you know, I probably wouldn't volunteer for the situation, but I would embrace it wholeheartedly again, because even though I lost a lot of things, he's given me people, you know, people like you, another brother, you know what I mean? You know, so blood don't make people brothers. It's their plight and their fight. And, you know, we walked and talked a lot of days about this, man, and to see it come into fruition, man, it's been a blessing to me, and to see you doing the things you're doing at MGM, and to see and to be able to be under God's umbrella of blessing, to be able to go back into uh, one of the settings that I came out of and become a chaplain and a reentry coordinator. You know, it's been beautiful. You know, I did reentry my whole time, so to be able to come out and instill some of those same things into guys, some of the certifications I got, to bring them to the guys that are still incarcerated, it's been a blessing. So
Say that, and I want to take it and speak on Mr. Sanders now. Like us, Mr. Sanders has done a lot of things in prison. He things he have obtained since he's been in prison. There's no question he can come out here and do far more than a lot of the people that's already out here. There's a great need for mentors. And they're limiting who he mentors by having them in the prison for the amount of time that they have him for. But he can do a far bigger service and mentor more people if he was out here at home. In as far as donating and giving time back and all these great attributes that he's doing, a lot of these people are not doing them. There's no question he's ready. Like you said, he's ready. We just need to, continue to work hard and continue to pray, and God gonna see him through. I feel like you. It's just a matter of time. Don't want to give nobody no false hope. But I've never felt as strongly about a situation as I done Mr. Sanders, because Mr. Sanders put in a lot of work. Miss Sanders and the Sanders family put in a lot of prayers and put in work. And we all know that prayers are answered and everything. And I definitely appreciate everybody that's coming aboard or that's on board or that is presenting Mr. Sanders' case in some way or some form, or is taking on this plight in some form, even if it's nothing but prayers. I definitely want to think that before I say that part, I would like to go ahead and allow Miss Riley to speak, and her to give a rundown of everybody that's on there, because I would like for everybody who's a part of it to be recognized.
Okay, thank you so much. I have my notes here, so excuse my head turning here. First of all, Miss Janie Alexandra, she's from No Exception Prison Collection. So thank you for her support. She's supporting. We have 2 news reporters that we have reached out to that they're going over Quentin's story and going to write the story. So it will be in the newspaper, which is Scott Humphrey from Fox 13 News and Mariah Timms from the Tennessean. And then also we have Senator Ackberry. Senator Ackberry is putting together a bill that Mr. Quentin Sanders fits perfectly, and they're looking at him to name this bill after him. So we're definitely working with them. Along with, we have State Representative Karen Camper that is coming aboard, and we're excited about that. we're very excited about Rabin and Wiseman. They're a law firm. Ben Rabin has given us his personal cell phone number. He wants to be updated. He wants to be involved. So we thank you for him. And then also going down the line here, making sure I don't miss anybody. You know, oh, Mr. Scott Sample is our newest person, and he is out of Connecticut. And he used to run Connecticut State Prison. He was the warden and then turned into the administrative person that runs all over the prisons in Connecticut. He actually put together his private prison in Connecticut. So he couldn't be here this evening. That was planned, but he is coming aboard and he's looking at Quentin's information and in hopes that he will write a letter to add to the commutation. Now, as everyone has heard, we all know Mr. Quentin Sanders is amazing. The things that he's done is amazing. So I will continue and to push along with Mr. Jones and Mr. Clifton. And by next Sunday, the list will be a little longer. I know there's a lot of personal people that have jumped aboard that Quentin knows. Our list, like I said, daily is growing. We have numerous groups just in our circle that's willing to promote. I know Miss Sandy Freeze, her group is willing to promote. So, we're really getting people together. A lot of people believe in Quentin. I believe in Quentin, and it definitely is his time to come home. It is. And I believe, like Mr. Jones says, it's going to happen. When? Not sure, but it's definitely going to happen. He's going to come home. I've looked into Governor Bill Lee, and he's for prison reform. He wants a better prison system. And so I'm positive on that end when it comes to him. So I really believe that this is going to happen. I talked to a lot of people, and never, ever have I ever come across someone like Mr. Sanders. So, he's just phenomenal, and I truly believe in him. And it doesn't matter to me how long this is going to take, because I'm not going to stop until he's home. And thank you, Sanders family, for making me feel like part of your family. I appreciate that. And Mr. Jones and Mr. Clifton, I tell you, I had no clue what I was going to do or how I was going to do when I first met Quentin Sanders. And they didn't hesitate. They didn't hesitate when I said, please, can you come aboard and help? And they didn't hesitate. And I am so grateful for all the teachings and all the things I've learned, because I had no clue what I was doing. And Mr. Jones and Mr. Clifton has truly guided me. And if it wasn't for them, I truly don't believe we would be this far. So I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. But yes, we're going to do this. It's going to work. And but that's the list I have. And like I said, though, next Sunday, it'll be longer. I know it.
Definitely, thank you for that. I want to add two that I particularly remember. We may not have mentioned everybody or may not mention everybody, but please know you are not forgotten and you're definitely appreciated. And that is Amani with the Community Defense Fund of East Tennessee and Pastor Mario P. Allen. We would like to acknowledge you guys as well, because y'all are also in this fight for Mr. Sanders. And anybody else that have donated to the fund or may have signed the petition, I wanted to tell you thank you. Your efforts will not go in vain. We're going to do whatever we can to get Mr. Sanders home, and we will keep you updated on what our efforts are, because in the near future we were trying to do a rally. We're going to do a rally. We're not trying to do anything. With the Lord's blessing, we're going to do a rally for Mr. Sanders, and we want everybody to come out and participate. Regardless of where you are or what you're doing, we would like for you to come out and participate. But we will keep you updated on it and give you ample enough time to make provisions to be able to come there. We're looking at the weekend of November the 13th or 14th. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Clifton. Um, you got to unmute yourself, brother. Work better if you unmute yourself.
Yes, that's correct. Let me see. I'm looking at the weekend of the 14th, 13, 14, and 15th, 13 and 14 for sure. So that's that Friday and Saturday. So we want to try to do the rally at Saturday, but get it in prep. Maybe figure out something to where we can do and just have a list of guest speakers and everybody. Maybe some of the people who are on that list, and just have a rally. Just have a rally for Quentin. We're going to organize and try to make it an event. A positive event and stuff. So we can get the word out there nationwide, not just in around Tennessee, but we want to find a hub, man, to where we can bring everybody together in order to be able to get his message out and make a strong push before the year ends to see and get the governor involved. See, political people don't like newspaper pressure or political pressure to do things. So we're hoping to break every chain and to get them to see Quentin's situation through their eyes or through our eyes, to see the injustice and the harm that has been caused in the family and him, and even within him himself, just because you know what I mean. So I'm ready. So I hope everybody's ready. So we're gonna be working on that, and I'm gonna try to give an update next Sunday too, with all the people I've talked to, and even the event. If anybody have any ideas or that they want to share, but you know, it's going to happen, and powerful and soon.
I definitely, again, I appreciate you, Mr. Clifton. I want to say that at that point, we're going to have, we already had online petition for Mr. Sanders. And if you sign that, then you don't have to sign the hard copy one that we're going to have at this rally as well. As we said, if we can get it in near Memphis, Tennessee or something, we do, myself, Mr. Clifton, know another gentleman that's actually in the music industry in Memphis, Tennessee, and we can reach out to him and try to get him to do the actual play, not playing the music, but actual the sound system, putting everything together for the microphones and all that type of stuff there, and maybe even to have him get some of his entertainers to do a performance or something to entertain the people that comes out there as well. So we are trying to put it together. Again, we welcome and encourage everybody to come with ideas. We want to do something that's phenomenal in the first time. We don't want to do the same thing that everybody else do. We want to do something different, because this gentleman here is a different and unique individual. So we want to continue to follow his footsteps. Um, I definitely want to, thank everybody. I don't want it too much. I want to definitely thank everybody for coming. And it was a pleasure actually getting the opportunity to meet, put the faces with the names and everything. And what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go ahead on and wrap this up, because I know everybody's been on here a while. I've been on here a while. Definitely for great calls. And I can sit here and talk about Mr. Quentin for hours and hours and hours about the injustice that he's getting, but we're trying to keep everybody tuned in to what we're doing. If you would like for anyone to view this, it will be on my YouTube page as well as my Facebook page. My YouTube page is the Reinvention Center. You can Google it or do a search on YouTube, and you'll be able to see this video that we done. Or if you want somebody else to watch it, you can see it that way. I know that Mr. Clifton puts it on his YouTube channel, and I know Miss Riley puts it on hers, and among a lot of other organizations that share it as well. But I definitely thank everybody for coming tonight and saying what they're saying. At the end of the day, I want everybody to know that Mr. Sanders is a phenomenal guy who has been sentenced too harshly, and it is time for him to come home. So we definitely, want everybody to help us with that plight. With that, if anybody else has anything they would like to say before I close out, feel free to do so. Or if somebody would like to add anything, feel free to do so. Because if not, then we're going to call it a night and go from there.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys. We really appreciate the work, and y'all are amazing. I just want to thank you guys.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Welcome.
You're welcome. I definitely appreciate. I guess she speaks for the Sanders sisters, so I know whenever we come to the barbecue, who we need to ask for the food at and everything. you know. But everybody, y'all have a good night. It's always a pleasure, and we will continue this fight until Mr. Sanders get home. We don't like Miss Lisa. We don't care how long it takes. We're going to get him home. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.